Welcome back. I'm here at Primordial Strength Inc. with Stephen Helnicki. Steve, thanks for having us here today.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Yeah, this is really interesting to me. I kind of have a background in physical education and stuff like that, but this is really a unique, eclectic type of gym. But before we get into that, though, can you talk a little bit about yourself, your background, history?
Sure. I was fortunate enough to be a world champion in powerlifting. Had a couple world records. Additionally, was put into the Hall of Fame. I was also a guy that had a sub 4.440 back in the 80s. So I looked at mixing both of those experiences in an eclectic way to produce higher level athleticism in people. And in addition to that, looking at training from cradle to grave over a lifetime.
Now you've done a lot. I mean, you've done a lot of research and everything. I mean, you've got a few books that you've written. You've
Yes,
done
sir.
a lot of research on the development of your program and developing your philosophy. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So we took a close look at studies from the 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s that talked about muscle elasticity and specifically the variable method. And some of the application of that was missed, and so we looked at it as an opportunity to continue to develop and study that. So we put about 50,000 hours into studying speed of muscle contraction and how that enhances athletic movement, and more importantly, how that enhances lifetime fitness.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and you've really outlined a lot. I mean, Steve, I mean, just by looking at this information that Steve's put together, you've really done a lot of work. This isn't your typical gym. You're really specific to what people's needs are and
Absolutely.
and all the knowledge to back it up.
We've tried to adapt that method over cradle to grave lifetime. So we published it in 56 books. It explains training from the time you're 2 till the time you're 80, the compression of athletic mortality so that you have the least amount of injuries as a byproduct of your training.
Mm-hmm. Well, can you talk about some of the programs that you have? If someone comes into you, how do you evaluate them? What do you determine?
So it's completely customized. What's atypical about this facility is you're not going to see your typical Zumba classes, your typical martial arts classes, anything that's trend-based. We stay very science-based here. Most of this industry is trend and fad-based, so we're looking for staying power over the lifetime of a training system, and we also wanted to turn that into a coaching curriculum. Much of what's being taught in most gyms and most of what you see on TV from the fitness industry is both incorrect form-wise and scientific-wise. So we wanted to make sure that we brought strong science to the table and that we focused on having a near zero injury rate from our product and retaining clients for a long period of time. So what you get here is almost a fine dining restaurant model from a support structure system, exactly what you need from an ingredient standpoint based on the science that we've studied.
Can you talk, I know you mentioned your clientele in terms of 2 to 80, but can you be a little more specific in terms of some target groups that you might have?
Absolutely. A good chunk of our business is post-physical therapy. Most of the people come here hurt. They might have not responded particularly well to physical therapy, or their physical therapy sessions were over and they were stuck in that middle. They couldn't go to a normal personal trainer or they couldn't go to a normal gym and take care of themselves. So we've started to focus on attacking that group. And then in addition to that, we've probably got about $7 million worth of scholarships and grants and aids to collegiate athletes. So it's a certification system. We've certified the coaches at St. Joe's, St. Francis, Lancaster, West Seneca East, West Seneca West, the Park School, and also the U.S. Marine Corps.
Okay. And can you talk about, you said you worked with some Russian groups?
A lot of what we do is tension removal. So even from the New York State Police SORT team, which I teach them both the hand-to-hand and they use our strength training system, tissue elasticity and the removal of tension from the body actually reduces injuries significantly. So that was brought back from training with the Russian Special Ops. I've helped use that domestically, both from a hand-to-hand standpoint, and additionally, we use that with all our clientele to remove tension. And I think over the long haul, you'll see from a concussion standpoint, not only do we do a lot of neck training, but we create fibers and tissues that create a lot of elasticity that dissipate contact force. That, coupled with the breathing we're taught, I think puts safer athletes on the field.
Okay, well, that's great. I mean, you can see that this, just the amount of work and the amount of knowledge that you have regarding this field I think is definitely worthy and tremendous. So.
Well, I put my life into it.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. And can you talk about your gym a little bit, your facility, types of equipment?
Absolutely. We wanted to create a facility that you looked at, and if you came back 25 years, everything in the building would be relevant. So from that perspective, there's really very few trend-based pieces of equipment here, with the exception that you will see kettlebells and ropes here. How they're used is a completely different methodology. So we do light to heavy and speed of contraction work with everything we use. I wanted the eclectic aspects of the artwork to be very important. So we used Buffalo artists to produce most of the material on the walls. We pulled graffiti artists off the streets, and rather than paint on buildings, we had them do our walls for us.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, it's really an eclectic, very interesting. You can find something everywhere just that you can look at for a while. So it's really. We're going to see some demonstrations by some students, some of the high school students.
Yes, sir.
And but can you, for people who are interested in contacting you, what's the best way to do that?
Phone is good, 716-213-8895, and then on our website, primordialstrengthsystems.com.
Okay. And you're right on the corner here in Elma and on Jameson and Bowen.
Yes, sir. One block away from the 400 exit.
Yeah.
So we're available to anyone.
Very easy access. Well, thanks for having us here today.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate the time, sir.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
we'll be right back.